welcome to Platform Media International Political Arena. Tonight on the arena, we have two important guests that will be discussing the fight for the soul of NNPC. And the fight is between Dr. Kachiku, the Minister of State of Petroleum for Nigeria, and the General Manager of NNPC, Nzeadibe. It is tough and it is intriguing. We'll be back shortly. Welcome back. Like I said just now, the war of nerves for the soul of NNPC between Kachiku and Nzeadibe is on. And I have in the studio tonight, on my right, Nzeadibe. Obi, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
And on my left, Ebenzer, Badewa, welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me.
Guys, the issue is the soul of NNPC. And NNPC is the juicy spot for to bring the finance into the federal government coffers. And two personalities have been embroiled in this for the fight over the soul of the NNPC. And we have Kachiku, who is the Minister of State, and the General Managing Director of NNPC, Nzeadibe. And a few days ago, Nzeadibe brought out a press release, and the kernel of that story is that he's not supposed to report to the Minister of State, Kachiku, rather he reports to the President, who is the Minister of Petroleum. Obi, give you your knowledge of workings of government. Is that right?
Well, in the absence of the president from the country and the transference of his power to the acting president, the substantive head of the NNPC is the Minister of State, Kachiku, and the general manager of NNPC ought to report to him.
Mr. Badewa, it's like Kachiku is making tea in the office, everything passing over his head. The substantive, like the Minister of State, he is claiming grounds of the appointments, claiming grounds of award of contract, and a part of the provisions of the setup of NNPC is that the man can award contract without deference to the Minister of State. Is that correct of a government that came on the behest of fighting corruption?
I think the things are actually wrong with this administration. On this platform in the past, I'm a strong supporter of Buhari. I think gradually, with the way things are going now, Buhari has started disappointing most of his fans in the way he handles leadership in the country. Maybe if it were to be when he was in London receiving treatment, that this issue came up, people would have begged the question for him. But right now, I think Buhari is gradually dropping the ball, and people are getting disappointed in the way he's managing his ministers and his political appointees.
Mr. Obi, Buhari, the cardinal reason or point of election of Buhari was that it's beyond the messy nature of corruption in Nigeria. And people hold held him in high esteem. People say, if you either be guilty by deed or guilty by association.
Yes.
So, if the president is sleeping while Rome burns, who should take responsibility?
Well, and I'm glad you brought that point up. We had high hopes that Buhari will curb corruption. He has been unable to do that. And that is why there is agitation for secession. People are convinced now that the Nigerian corporate state is too large for any man to responsibly manage. If Buhari cannot curb corruption, if Obasanjo could not, if the military could not, if Jonathan could not, then we need to break Nigeria into smaller bits so that the region can be accountable to itself and be able to curb corruption at a lower level. Buhari cannot, and there is nothing he can do about being able to curb corruption.
Okay, that gets me to another point. people say the way Nigeria is structured is, if you let me not commit heresy, that if you bring Jesus Christ in, Nigerian system will make him fail. Let's give an example. Buhari is unanimously, people agree that Buhari is the last defense in terms of fighting corruption. If he doesn't get it right, we're finished as a nation. Who else? Now, under him, I'm sure you heard last week that his wife is crying or made a very serious allegation, which supposed to be have snowballed into the system. The wife of the president accused the medical director of the State Health Clinic of putting up structures without the medical facilities. And under him, NNPC, the reason why he became the Minister of Petroleum was because he knew he has been Minister of Petroleum before. And he also PTF, Petroleum Trust Fund under Abacha. So he knew the workings of NNPC. And under him, this mess continued. And this was the same thing they accused the former Minister of Petroleum, Nzeadibe. And somebody single-handedly awarded $24 million contract under him. So are we supposed to take him serious? And as a matter of fact, this is about the second year or third year he's ruling. Nobody, no significant VIP has been convicted of corruption, and corruption is everywhere. It smells. You can pick it on the street.
One of the greatest weaknesses of our president is his leaning towards Hausa Fulanese. If the GMD of NNPC had been from the south, he would have been fired automatically. But if he is Hausa or Fulani, the president seems to close his eyes to their misdeeds. His silence over the Fulani herdsmen killing, they are being armed with AK-47s, and the government's inability to have done anything about it or said anything about it is a pointer to the fact that our president is very biased.
And weak. Okay. Mr. Badewa. Now, the argument from State House is that Buhari wants the structure to work rather than intervening as a military man. He's a democratic leader. So he wants the structure that on the ground to work, like the court should decide either for corruption. Well, we can leave the phone alone. The phone is ringing. We're getting it from outside call, but just ignore that. Now, if they are coming, they want the court to take care of the people who are corrupt, and the courts are not doing anything. So the argument is that the man should not physically intervene. He should let the system work. The court should take care. AFCC is there, arrest them and charge them to court. The court will convince them. So do you feel that Buhari is being seen as ubiquitous leader that should be everywhere? Is it fair not to criticize him for that?
People are not criticizing him even for the failure of EFCC not winning cases in court. They are criticizing him for how his own kitchen cabinet, how he has been managing them. Now we have the issue of the transport ministry and the aviation. The Minister of State, who is managing aviation, doesn't want to report to Amechi, the transport minister. Now we
ignore the cause. Just go ahead.
The custom boss doesn't want to report to Adeoshu,
the Minister of
Finance. And all these ministry, they have their own ministers in charge. Now, who is the custom boss? Is from the north. Who is the Minister of State for Aviation? Is from the north. And the minister, the Minister of Transportation is from south. Adeoshu is from southwest, right? Now the issue of Kachiku is from the
Delta.
From Delta. Now all the northern subordinate under them doesn't want to report to them. They go directly to the president. Why should the president have to accommodate them?
Okay, that's where I differ with you guys. If look at Kachiku, he was bold enough to protest to the president. I like people who are strong will, and I just believe that some leaders from the south.
You said he has boldness to protest to the president. Now, did he approach the president, or he was writing a memo to the president because he has no access to the president in the
Rather than
first
he join the bandwagon of follow, he has to protest
place?
and get his independence.
Until he leaked out this is why you knew he was protesting.
But some others would prefer to just join them.
Many will be doing the same thing. We saw the note that governor of Kaduna State wrote to the president. Until he leaked out, we didn't know that people were trying to give the president some advice. Who are the people leaking out this information out in the presidency? So you see, these are things that contribute to agitation we're talking about. If we don't know where we are going, we know where we are coming from. We know how it was in the 60s, in the 50s, the development that we are still talking about today. Like you can see, there is nothing like federal present in any of this region. So this calls for agitation. And when you have our people in position and they are not even given the room to exercise their power or to perform their function.
Okay, let me say something. That's what I disagree with you guys. If a Southerner, are you telling me that all the ministers from the north, there's no Southerner working under them? Yeah.
There are.
So why don't they too mount some kind of disobedience so that it will be all over the place and the president will have to step in? Why is it that it is only the case where the Southerners are the ministers that their subordinates are disobeying them? Why?
Well, the Nigerian state is being run as an estate of the Northern Fulani oligarchy. You have to accept that. And the Southern Nigerians had refused to unite, to wage a solid front against the North. And so they continue to run roughshod over the South. And they will continue until someone stops them. It has gone on forever. In the case of the Ogonese, they felt that killing Saro-Wiwa would stop it, and that's the process that they had always taken. They had Ken Saro-Wiwa eliminated. They had what's the name of the guy who founded the first Nigeria Republic? They had him killed during the Civil War. They had Ala Messia.
President will reject the call. Go ahead.
Ala Messia, they pushed him to his death. Tam David West was sent to jail for receiving a wristwatch and having a cup of tea. And if you are a Southern leader who wants to stand up for your people, one way or the other, the Nigerian federal government will run you to jail or run you to your death.
And that takes me to the question that if nothing comes easy, if you look at history, people who decide to take the bull by the horn will suffer. But some people are not ready to make sacrifice. That's why people like Kachiku, the Ibe Kachiku, should be praised for coming up to say, well, to hell with you guys. I have to make my voice known. Hey.
Oh, he has done very well. I commend him for his bravery, but his bravery is not just enough. He needs to tell the nation that a significant percentage of the nation's wealth comes from his state, and they have the capacity to turn it off.
That is the insult, because Ibe Kachiku is from Delta State, where the oil wealth comes from.
So if his people allows him to be disgraced at the federal executive level, that's their cup of tea. But if I were a person from Niger Delta, we should work collectively to support our man at the federal level and tell the federal government, hey, that guy comes from the oil producing area of this nation. And there are many ways to say that.
Like? Don't be silent about it.
Oh, well, they've spoken in the past, and I hope they will speak again in the future.
That's it. Well, Mr. Badewa. Now, Mr. Ibe Kachiku, do you think it is right for him to remain there, or he should quit?
You see, Ibe Kachiku is a professional. I think he has been to the highest echelon of mobile oil in the past, and he has a track record. So he was once offered a position. It was Jonathan administration that discovered Ibe Kachiku. They offered him a ministerial position there or an appointment, which he rightly turned down. But this time around, he felt, you know what, let's contribute because of
the change
matter that Buhari brought, and he's trying to restructure and reorganize the NNPC, and he threw his cap in. So I won't say he should just resign abruptly, because it will warrant to so many unnecessary criticism. But so far, I think Nigeria are solidly behind him now, and they know what he stands for, and they know that they're just trying to rubbish his
track record
in NNPC right now, and they cannot achieve it because majority of Nigerians are behind the Ibe Kachiku.
Mr. Obi, the intriguing thing about the Ibe Kachiku and Maya Kubaru is that immediately they had the meeting with the president. That was when the NNPC came out with that memo, with that
response, yes,
to say, well, I'm not supposed to report to you, but I report to the president because the president is the minister of petroleum. And Buhari was away for 100 days, and those 100 days, who was in charge?
Well, you know, that's why we said that the president is being poorly advised. You know, the MD for NNPC actually issued a press statement saying that he obtained approvals from the president. Now, people...
When he was away for 100
Yes,
days?
he went to London and obtained those approvals, according to a written statement by the NNPC. It was after people started saying that Buhari could not have given those approvals.
In the hospital bed.
Even if he did, he had transmitted presidential powers to the vice president. That's why Osibanjo had been forced to come on air to say that he was the person who actually gave the approvals.
He denied it. He said he didn't give approval, but he only approved the loan. So there's so much confusion there.
He said he approved. You see, like you rightly said, these are some of the issues here. Even before he went to London to start seeking for approval, he went to Osibanjo. Osibanjo asked him to go to
the minister.
So, and whether Buhari signed it there or he didn't sign it, the issue is this. How has Buhari been addressing all this issue? When a junior minister comes to you, before you do anything, it's not even a minister, it's just
a general
manager. The person that should be reporting to you is your minister. But has he been accommodating them? And look at what Femi Falana, the people's lawyer in Nigeria, said. He said they violated the act that set up the NNPC
yes,
for even awarding contract without going through the board.
Then that's board. But again, the system is set up for failure. The chief of staff to the president is a member of the tenders board. GMD is a member of the tenders board. Buhari, the minister of petroleum and the head of state. So the Ibe Kachiku is surrounded by wolves.
Yeah, but they didn't even go through the board at all. So let's assume when they get to the board, because there are a lot of interest group in the board, maybe they will vote, and at the end of the day, it will be majority carry the vote. But do they even go there at all? They didn't.
So, like I said, we have to diverse ways of settling this matter. You can leave that. We have to diverse ways. Is it by protest or by acquiescing to the system and continue to let it fester?
Well, the system was unfairly set up by the military to favor the Nigerian North. It has been like that for a long time, and the only thing that can be done will be for the entire South to unite and offer up a responsible resistance to this act of this kind of behavior. Have some constitutional changes, create a new constitution by ethnic nationalities, and let's have a fair and equitable nation. Without a fair and equitable nation, corruption will continue, demand for secession will continue, and there will be unnecessary loss of lives going forward.
And that's by going back to the 1963 Constitution. I can't thank you guys enough. Thank you, Mr. Nzeadibe, for coming to the program. Mr. Ebenzer Badewa, thank you very much for showing up at PMI. I want to extend our greetings to you. And our producer behind the camera, I want to thank you for doing a good job. Viewers, that's the discussion tonight is based on the fighting of the soul of the NNPC between the general manager of NNPC, Miyaku Baru, and Dr. Ibe Kachiku, the Minister of State for Petroleum in Nigeria. And as it is, the Minister of State is being sidelined by administration, by word of contract and appointment of personnel. And the man has shouted it loud. Whether it will be taken seriously is another thing. But us on this panel, we will give you the pressure of the federal government, because we say it the way it is. Because we are not guided by what you think. We're guided by the people's opinion. And I want to thank you guys for coming. And stay with us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. I'm yours sincerely, Joe Ehizode. Have a good night. Bye-bye.